I don't want to brag about things that I don't have, I don't know, and I am not. Okay, I'm in a numb state.
The body is just into this silent relief.
Oh, I love my critique. That's against my values.
Sometimes growth comes with a lot of downfall, right?
They have every right to ask, but I have to give them what I what I know.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I am so happy today because I am going to be talking to our dear guest, Alexandra Efthimiadou. Many of us know Alexandra through her trainings, through her work, and through her teaching. But for this conversation, I'm going to be less interested in what the credentials are, which are a lot, and we're going to talk about them. But we are also going to talk about who Alexandra is and who the person is as she has evolved over time. So we have Alexandra now. I told you.
I mean, what a welcome. I love this.
Yeah. Did expect us a lot of good welcome. Normally you walk on stage and there's some clap, but there's this sea of anxious people. Okay, what are we going to talk about? And you know,
Oh my goodness.
so yeah.
I mean, this is technology. I mean, it's fantastic. I used to be, Adnan, I used to be, well, I was thinking of myself like 7 years ago, like digitally illiterate. But
Yeah.
now, I mean, I love technology and what it has brought up for simple people. I mean, for simple persons, not just for technicians, specialists. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I think that famous English proverb, right? Every cloud has a silver lining.
Exactly.
So COVID actually, propelled us into this very digital era and really made the world borderless, right? I mean,
Exactly.
how else could I have had the pleasure and the honor to know you if it was not for the online
Yeah.
technologies and so on?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Uh,
must tell you, the way you guys managed it was awesome. Was
Yeah.
awesome. Really,
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
the best things that I've learned.
And to be frank, just between us, I mean, I don't know who else is hearing.
I'm sorry, other people.
I used to say, oh my goodness. I don't know if I should say that. I mean, I sometimes say sent COVID because I realize that there is a home for me and I can stay home because I was traveling so much. And because of COVID, I had to stay home. And I realized it's such a nice experience staying home and working from home. I have never thought of it before. So I just say sometimes, I mean, send COVID, thank you, because if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have realized how important it is to stay home and work from home sometimes. Actually, I'm home.
Yes.
I'm home now,
Oh,
and
how
besides, I became digitally literate because of COVID.
No, I remember the NLP train the trainer training, which is where I had the honor of digitally meeting you, right?
Yes.
Uh, digitally meeting you, but that would have been possible for me, right? And you guys did it so well, and I'm with still friends with a lot of people who were in person. So I think there are two learning curves, right? One is how to
Exactly.
go
Yeah.
digital, but also how to integrate the room and the
Yes.
online presence to just connect together.
It's doable. We're doing it with our practitioner courses, and we managed through COVID to invite friends. I mean, people and students from tiny villages all around Greece, and who wanted to attend but didn't have the chance to come to class or to come to Athens. And it
Yeah.
was fantastic. They just loved it because, and they get incorporated in the class. I mean, we managed to integrate both online people and the in person in the classroom. Fantastic.
I am a witness to that, and um, it was one of the best experiences that I could have in terms of an integrated classroom, because I've attended quite a lot of trainings where they say there's hybrid and so on, but you somehow don't even see faces of the people. But here
Mm.
you were we're integrating, we're talking to people and so on. I recently attended Robbie's master practitioner
Yes.
as a source person, and that was also very well integrated.
Yes.
So
Yes.
some
Robbie.
really good stuff there.
And house. Yes. Oh, you were
Yeah,
resourcing at Robbie's.
I
All
was
right.
sourcing.
Fantastic.
I was sourcing, and it's more like you learn more, you learn more. It's a never-ending journey, is it?
I mean, you look in this business. You have to be trainable. In other words, to be willing to get to train yourself constantly, even in
Yeah,
the old stuff and the new stuff at the same time. I mean, yeah. Otherwise, I mean, I think otherwise you get obsolete because there's so many new things that coming up all the time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You do
Uh,
get obsolete, but
yeah.
it also comes with the with this love of learning and also you know not just learning but also love of transmitting, right? Because love of learning is also my love, but how do I spread it out? How do I become that beacon so it can be transmitted to other people?
Yeah, actually, that's when I started NLP. That was my purpose, and I knew I had something unique in my hands, and I
Hmm.
wanted, share it with the rest of the people that I was meeting. And so that became my unique purpose. I mean, transferring the NLP. And besides, you remember, and that was the main purpose of, when they built NLP, the NLP system. It was, I mean, they did it for a very spiritual reason, and the spirituality of this was that they wanted to transfer this knowledge. And each time I step into a classroom, I feel the same. I want to transfer everything that I have in my own hands, everything
Yeah.
that I learned. Yeah.
No, I'm a witness to that. So, uh, I mean, we had a lot of good time, of course, and there were some great trainers. But the one thing that was common, and of course, one thing that I saw in you, and that's what always inspired me. And I've stayed in touch, and you've been very gracious to be stay in touch with all your busy time. But that was, I could see this. I have this, and I want to give it to you. Please take it. I just want to pass it on. Please take it. It's
Please
like that.
take it. I have it. I have it in my hands. I have it in my body. I have it in my head. I have it in my heart. I have it everywhere. I exude. Sometimes people tell me, my goodness, you exude NLP. I mean, from every single, point of your body, it just comes out.
Yeah, yeah. Where did you get this energy from? Have you always been this energetic? Because there's a lot of energy,
Yeah.
and I
I
think
mean,
it has quadrupled as you've gone along. But
hmm.
what's the source?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. As well, as far as I can remember, me, yes, I had this energy. I don't know where it was coming from. I feel sometimes it's a birthright. I was having this I was having this energy, and then when I realized it, I made this energy more intentional. You know, this energy had to be had to have a specific purpose. So getting um, acquiring this knowledge of NLP, and I wanted really to transfer. So I was fully absorbed on transferring this. So that's it. I mean, this energy in general transformed into an intentional way to transfer the things that I get as knowledge to other people. That's how I
Yeah,
feel about it. But I really don't know how I got this energy.
I'm really
Sometimes
happy
it's
that you did.
exhausting, sometimes it's exhausting. And I need to make a pause because I realized that at some point I was giving to persons that were not taking.
Yeah,
And I said, okay, Alexandra, this is your pause point. You have to stop and at least you give this energy to people that are willing to take. That's
yeah,
very important because I felt sometimes that I was wasting this energy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
I don't know
and
how you,
no,
do
no,
you
I
have this?
hear you. I have a lot of, I'm a very high energy person as well. And normally on online, my body doesn't show when I'm in this space of podcast and stuff like that. But very energetic, very animated, very bubbly, dancing and laughing, and doing all that stuff all the time. But
Yeah.
I do get this, because I think we people with high energy and a lot of uh, clear purpose, in terms of the purpose, the kind of purpose you have, the kind of purpose that I have, we do tend to get carried away in terms of
Yes.
giving to people who don't want it.
Mm, mm,
How did that you know come to surface for you?
yeah. Well, actually, I mean, do you know that this is a rule in psychology? Because my background is in psychology, and
Yes.
we say you don't have to, get involved with people who don't want to change themselves or transform themselves because they're not taking it. It's a rule.
Yeah.
So it applies to almost everything. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So you learned it the hard way.
The hard way. What? I mean, can you repeat the
That
question?
I am giving to people who do not want to take it, and that is making my energy
Oh
in a
yes,
way be
yes, yes,
exhausted.
exactly. Because I felt sometime yes, I learned through bad examples, which were I got the feedback at the end because I was giving this energy and I was feeling so drained out because they were not taking it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I learned
And
it
you're
the hard.
probably trying more. You're probably trying harder and
And
harder
I
and
was
harder.
trying harder, and because probably I don't know. It most probably it was unconscious, Adnan. I was giving, and I could feel that they were not getting it, and I was trying more and more. And then one day, say, okay, what for? Why do you try?
Yeah.
It might not be me. It might be the other person. And
Yes.
then when I realized that, and I said, okay, I know what I want to give you. Whoever is willing, okay, I'm here, but I'm not going to try hard to give this.
Yeah. Yeah. I learned it because I learned it through both NLP training and through coaching. Because sometimes you're working with a client, and the client is just there to tick box, just the checkbox activity that, oh, well, I took coaching. Oh, well, I took NLP practitioner. Or I took my NLP master practitioner. And it's just not, they're not doing the work. And
Exactly.
that's, but initially, you're like, oh, well, I so want you to evolve and do whatever, and you take that responsibility, so to say, right? And
Exactly.
I think that's it happens with every one of us, because early years, you're actually trying to, you come in with that purpose, and uh, the purpose has to be very clear, that you can only help people when they are willing to help. Else, if they're not willing to help, then it's taking away that resource from those who are actually waiting for help. I
Yeah.
think that was the realization that I had.
So very true, Anna, Adnan. Because actually, yes, they are stealing the energy. And those kind of people, I feel the same. They're stealing the energy from those who really want it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you talked about purpose. You talked about taking yourself into this NLP world and in the coaching world. But before that, you know, it's been a long career. But when you started off, right? When there was Alexandra before NLP, before all this stuff, right?
Uh huh.
What's that journey like? And by long career, I don't mean like 5 decades. Please don't take me wrong. I mean a few years here and there.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Well, I
yeah,
have this institute in Greece since 1998. All right. But Uh, okay, I'm feeling. Let me put it in my mind the right way so that I transfer it to you. I feel lucky in my life because I did what I always to do in my life, and my love was psychology. So I started with, I loved it, and I started with studying psychology. But
Yeah.
then I went with the flow. I mean, I never thought that, I never said to myself that I will have an office and I will offer psychology services. I never said that. And somehow I followed the flow in the sense that I went to England. I do my master's degree there, and then I went off to US and I did my PhD, which had to do with
Right.
um, in human resource development for businesses, nothing to
Yeah.
do with clinical stuff. But the line was always psychology. And when I finished my PhD, which was like the theme was the Sinolic approach to human resource development, which says, uh, okay, for working people, we have work-related factors that account for much of their behavior in their profession. But sometimes we see people that they do not achieve according to what they had in their mind, what they were dreaming. And the question was, why? Why they do not perform as some others. And we decided to study this, and we discovered that there are what we call personal factors that account even much more for human behavior and for their individual performance in their professional life. And when we finished that study, I turned to my professor, and who happens to be my mentor. He's in his 90s now. And I said, okay, I finished. We proved that it's not enough the work-related factors. Somebody needs to develop personal factors like their belief system, their life goal plan, and so on and so forth. Now what? What do I do? And he said, why there is some three letters that they're very trendy. Would you like to go and find out about these three letters? And the three letters were neurolinguistic programming. And I said, sure. Do you think I will get anything out of it which is useful and I can bring it back to my home country and do something with this? And he said, yes. So I went to and learned NLP, and I just got stuck with NLP because it's, you know, and I said, I'm here. These are going to be my tools that I can use in my psychology profession, in my with my psychology background, so that I be able, if somebody says, "Oh, now, okay, Alexandra, now you proved that. How can I change?" So now I have tools, and I like what I liked about. So you see, I just went with the flow, and I have nothing in my mind as a concrete that I will have my office. So that I came back to Greece with the NLP. Of course, I got trained as you, and practitioner, master practitioner, trainer, master trainer, and I was, and I felt that I had this unique knowledge that I could give it to the persons so that they transform their lives or do the changes they want with their lives. And that's how it started. I didn't expect that I would end up with an NLP Institute back in 1997.
Yeah.
Just in 1998. It all
Yeah.
started with my love for psychology, and I just followed the flow where the flow was getting me.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up here. And actually, Adnan, when I a lot of parents come to me and say, because they're anxious about their offsprings and their children, what they're going to become, how to choose what to choose when it comes to university or college or degrees. And I share with them, first of all, I share with them my story, so that they pass it on to their children. Because sometimes we get so, you know, we get so focal about we get some tunnel vision with regards to our goals, and it's not possible to see what else that can lead us to our goals, because we're so, you know.
Sorry, there was a power breakdown here.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
but we're here.
Yeah.
So very sorry. So you were talking about the tunnel vision and getting stuck in that tunnel vision. That's where I lost you.
What was the last thing that I said? Was
You
sometimes
talked about get into that tunnel
we
vision.
get. I mean, we have such. I mean, we have a dream of ourselves, but it's so narrow. It's there when we use our tunnel vision, and that does not allow us to do that,
Yeah.
and we might miss certain things that might be there, and we won't be seeing them because of this.
Like this.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
We,
too
we,
narrow.
we use this, yeah. We use this term like, when you have a horse, right? You put those blinders on the horse so that
Yeah,
it
yeah,
can
yeah. It's
only
like
see in the front.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah,
was.
exactly. Those blinders.
Exactly. Thanks.
No,
Thank you
it's
for
called
helping
tunnel
me
vision.
with it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
It
like
is
wearing
called tunnel vision, but
blinders.
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
blinders.
You do
Yeah,
that because you are. It's interesting because you put the blinders on the horse because you are afraid that the horse will see more, right? And that's the potential of the horse, right? The horse, when the horse sees more, the horse can go everywhere. The
yeah, yeah,
world
yeah.
opens up, right?
Look, the thing is that the horse has to see the street and the path, but
Yes.
the man on top of the horse is supposed to have a more general view,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
lead the horse. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yes, if we are the horse, sometimes with these blinders, we cannot see what else is there.
Yeah. So the interesting part is that um, many of us choose to be the horse, right? And if we have the blinders on,
Yes.
then the question is, who put the blinders on us, right? And how can we get rid
Exactly.
of them?
Exactly. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh, I'm just curious. So so NLP is there, and there's a lot of learning. There's a lot of things that you did evolve. But when did it become like part of your identity, so to say? When did that shift happen, or how
You
did that
won't
shift
be,
happen?
you won't believe it. As long as I was learning NLP and I was dreaming how I could use it, I think it was in me already. It's so
Yeah.
I will get you back in 1998, because when I came back here, I thought, and I established the NLP Greece. Um, I thought it was already installed in me. I thought it was,
All is the right way.
it was inside me. I mean, I was carrying it. It
Yeah.
was. I mean, Alexandra and NLP became one at first sight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting because I see a lot of people learning NLP, right?
Hmm.
Learning other tools uh, in coaching, in the modalities, and so on. But I see that most people are just you know learning. They don't they get the skills, but they don't seem to be really applying it on themselves, or really that evolution from inside is not really happening. uh, do you notice that? Does that what do you think is going on?
I
You've seen
wish I
that for
knew.
sure, those examples. I am sure you have
Yeah,
seen those examples.
yeah, I've
Quite a
seen
few
it.
of them.
Yeah, I've seen it. I call them eternal students because they like it. They like the concepts, they like the approaches. But for some reason, yes,
Yeah.
you're very true, Adnan, as if they're not getting it into their muscle. And I wonder why. What happens with these people? How do they manage not to get it into their muscle? Well, and noticing other people on how to get, so I notice other people at the same time how easily they absorb it, and and as if NLP is like them. I think it's first of all it's a practice.
Mm.
um yes, and the other is mindset, as if they're not ready to absorb it, to get it in the muscle, to be acting with NLP. And of course, that raises the question, okay, sometimes I put it on the table with my students. Oops, another power
Don't
cut.
don't worry, it's connected.
Okay.
No, no, it's
Okay.
okay.
Sometimes when I see that kind of phenomena, um, I just put it on the table. I have a talk with my students, and I bring it up as an issue, and I say, okay, this is what I notice. If you really like to get it in the muscle, would you like to consider what's stopping you from doing this? And then I offer them the chance to think if there is a belief system behind, if there is a value system that is not that doesn't help them to get get it in the muscle, to start behaving with NLP, start being with NLP. Um, and
Yeah.
sometimes I discovered that there might be a belief, there might be that's stopping them from doing this. So it's a good point to work upon that. But it's so many different things.
Yeah.
And I think it's idiosyncratic. I cannot say I can. It's not a recipe. It's not one recipe that can fix everything. It's idiosyncratic in the sense it's part of the personal factors that probably work backstage and do the job for a person that is not getting it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because I totally agree. Um, Mickey and I were having my last podcast was with Mickey Fair, and we were having this conversation. It was also about this part that a lot of people do think, a lot of courses also position themselves this way that in this 15-day, 20-day thing, 10-day thing, you'll be like completely different person altogether. I think it takes a lot of backstage work, as you said. Uh,
Yeah.
just yesterday, I completed my another NLP module, my current training, and one of the students, she messaged me. She said, "Well, when I joined the course, I was thinking that there would be some magic wand, and I all my things would be solved, and I'd be like, change like this." And I laughed so hard. I was like, "My friend, what are you thinking? It doesn't happen that way, It's
Exactly.
a lot of self work that goes on inside during and beyond the course as well, right? It's you need a lot of thinking time to actually
Yes.
process all of that. NLP is
Exactly.
heavy from that perspective.
Yeah. Well, for me, NLP is another tool that we psychologists use in our toolbox. it's a whole process. It's a whole process to start thinking. I mean, understanding and unearthing and uncovering what's underneath, what's backstage, that probably prevents you from, get it in and start doing things with this. Yes, I agree with this view, Adnan and Mike. Is it Mickey? You said he was here last time.
Yeah, Mickey.
Mickey's. Yeah,
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 it was Mickey.
yeah,
Yeah, and well, mindset is a set. I mean, mindset. It's about values. It's about beliefs. It's about the purpose. So if you're not clear about your values, your beliefs, the purpose, why do you want to do that? So it needs
yeah.
work.
And I think work. It is work. It is work. And I now normally tell my students that it is a longer work. We've just divided it into two parts called the practitioner and the master practitioner.
Mm,
It's a way longer work than you think it is, right?
exactly.
It is not a
Yeah,
10-15 day course. You have to
yeah,
put it in your muscle memory. You have to, and as I go along, I'm expanding the course because I want to have people have that process and that thinking.
exactly.
Um,
Do you know what I believe
go ahead.
sometimes? I mean, I
Yes,
can
yes.
see, I can, I see what happens in social media and internet when they advertise about, people advertise about NLP, making promises that your life will change within instantaneously, like having a magic wand and everything will turn upside down and your life will be splendid. But it's not like that. That's very commercial. I don't agree with that.
Yes.
I mean, this is very
Yeah.
commercial, and this is not the case. And I feel
Could
sorry
happen that
for
way.
two things. For I feel sorry for those people who buy that kind of trainings, and at the end of the day, they don't get the real value and the essence of what the training has to offer to them. And I feel sorry for what happened to the NLP, because that's why there is a lot of conflict about what this NLP is all about, and people start misunderstanding it because of the intention of some people in the altar of commercialism.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I think
I believe that they're not telling the truth to the people, that you have to work with yourself. Do you really want to work with yourself? Okay. Sometimes it's painful. Do you really want to work with
it
yourself?
is.
Yeah.
It is. It is very
Yeah.
painful. I mean,
But it's
if
catharsis.
you are,
It's exhilarating. It's catharsis after that.
I think
Yeah.
when I recall my own experience with NLP practitioner and master practitioner, and later on as a trainer as well, doing the trainer and so on. I think it's an arc, right? It's a journey that you keep on taking and keep on building,
Exactly.
and it's an evolution at the same time. Uh, and I tell this to my students that after attending an NLP practitioner program, uh, with the right uh, conceptual and grounded frameworks, you would have to go through a lot of personal struggles because there will be a lot of chaos inside you.
Of
There's
course.
this constant
A lot of
fight.
shadows. It's not only light. You will discover a lot of
Yeah,
shadows.
not
A lot of
yeah.
shadows.
Because, and
Yeah. Of course,
you
which
never
is
saw them because
normal.
you were in the dark, right?
Exactly, which is normal. And I keep on saying, look, I'm not going to teach you how to change things. I'm going to teach you how to listen to yourself first, how to listen to your body, how to listen to your sensations, how to listen to your feelings, because these are your secret consultants. Are you willing to do that? And for example, I say it's some people say, okay, I don't want to have this fear. And I said, no, I'm not going to help you. And they say, why? Because fear is biological. It's biology. I mean, if you don't
Yeah,
have it,
can't get it.
you're done. You're finished. The thing is
Yeah.
how you interpret the messages of fear, how interpret the messages of anger, of sadness, of all these wonderful, I call them polite feelings, gentle feelings. These they are wonderful internal consultants. All of our emotions. Are you willing to
Yes.
listen to
Yes.
them? Yeah,
Yeah. The
yeah,
Robert has this the principle of positive intention. Robert has a slide on his practitioner deck on the principle of positive intention, and every time I hear a thing like I'm angry or I'm sad or I have this fear, and really my question is, okay, what is it trying to tell you?
exactly,
What's the hidden message here,
exactly. What
right?
is
And
the
we're so
message here?
want to get rid of them.
Yeah, yeah. This is a big misunderstanding because those people out there keep on, um, you know, calling them, inviting them, so that they they stop having feelings or stop having the emotions. For God's sake, that's not the case.
Yeah,
That
you need
makes
to
me laugh
start
sometimes. Yeah,
listening to the emotion.
yeah. And
Listening to
sometimes when people really do work with with themselves and the backstage consultants and the backstage forces, and they say you changed my life, and I said, no, I didn't change your life, I just gave you the tools. You changed your life.
yeah,
I'm a medium. I mean, I am, the tool bearer. I'm not changing
yeah,
lives and I'm not helping others. Who am I? Am I God? I'm just having the tools. And I'm really there. I'm really willing to transfer these tools. Are you willing to take them and, do the
yeah,
job with yourself?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's sad because people are looking for those quick fixes,
Yeah, unfortunately.
and that's difficult.
Yeah, yeah.
And as it becomes more commercial, I mean, people are saying, oh well, that guy does it for 55 hours. Why do you have a 125 hours program? And I tell them I have a 125 hours program because it cannot be done in 55 hours, for God's sake,
Yeah,
right? Right? I
yeah,
mean, why would I do a program for two extra time or 2.5 extra time when I can do it in
exactly.
55 hours when I'm charging zero amount, for God's sake,
How can I
right?
do
So,
that?
so
Am I going to, operate on your scalp, tear it apart, install the magic things there, and then pull it back, and that's it? No, that's not the case. It makes me laugh sometimes. But anyhow, I got used after 27 years. I got used to it at that.
yeah, of course you do. You were talking about emotions and you were talking about listening. Uh, how has your own relationship with your own self, and that means your values and your emotions and beliefs, how has that evolved over time? Your relationship with yourself, and when I talk about yourself, I'm talking about the values and the beliefs and the emotions, the whole person. How has that evolved and changed over time? You know,
You know, uh, Alexandra is my best friend. If you ask me who your best friend is, who's your bestie is, I will say myself. We have moments with Alexandra. I love to be alone sometimes and talk with me, and if and so that because I have some things happen in the day, and sometimes I might get angry or fearful or insecurity, all these kind of emotions. And my best friend is Alexandra, because at the end of the day, I will just sit down and talk with myself so that I understand what's going on, what's really going on in there. And this is how I solve things with me. And I have been solving a lot of things with me all these years because I knew the methodology. I have the tools, so I know what to do. Yes. And we have established a very good system of communication, which is emotions, which is feelings. Yes, that's how we communicate. Because Alexandra, what's Alexandra? That's beating my heart, pumping my lungs, digests for me, and so on and so forth. Um, this is the code that she communicates through feelings and emotions, and I know how to listen to them. That's very important. And also,
That's beautiful.
yeah, and also I'm a very good friend with myself, and I really respect it. For the example, I do not want, if something, if I feel like I'm pushed by a situation, I stop, because I don't want to push Alexandra. I can feel she doesn't want that. So I stop. I don't like to be pushed. I make a stop there. It's funny. But anyhow, we have established a unique communication with myself. As I told you, it's my best friend. She's my best friend, and I'm the best friend for her when we know that. How about you,
That's
Adnan?
very well put. Uh, I think the journey is the, and I was that was what I was going to ask you as well, because uh, the way we have been, at least in my culture, we've been, brought up. It's like, thinking about yourself is selfish. You being your own best friend is really self-centered. Having boundaries is really not about is not caring about others, and saying no is just not acceptable.
Yeah.
So, uh, and that was my going to be my question to you. But since you asked me, I think I've done a lot of work on those things as well. Uh, the one belief change that I've had is putting yourself on priority does not mean that you are being selfish. Uh,
Not at all.
your
That's
your
protection.
purpose, yeah, it's protection.
That's protection.
How,
Of course.
how can I serve someone else if I'm not willing to serve myself?
Exactly.
Uh, yeah. And as you were telling me this, I was reminded of this very simple thing, that I'm a very curious person as a person. I'm very curious about everything and so on. And as you were saying, I have a very unique relationship with myself. I was also thinking that the way I talk to myself is, when something is happening, I just, step away, sit down, and think, okay, what's really going on with you, Adnan? Because, I think that non-judgmental curiosity is really important, and that's where you understand your clients. That's where you understand your participants, and I think I owe that to myself, to at least give myself that kind of um,
Exactly.
care.
Yeah. So what was the question?
My question was, how did you uh, work with your own beliefs around this? Because the self-care, self-centeredness, this is how it typically translates into a lot of
Okay.
cultures, a lot of people, right?
Uh, in order to work with your beliefs, you have to know them first,
Yeah.
and you cannot, and it's not like it doesn't come like magic. You have to
No, it doesn't.
go through ups and downs, and then, as you very well said, step aside, find a silent corner, and start talking with yourself, and finalize what's important to you, and why is this important to you, for what purpose, which comes to the values and the beliefs.
Yeah.
And once you
Yeah.
finalize this, you fine tune this, then you build up your fence. It's like a home with a fence around. That's how I feel, Adnan. I
Yeah.
am my home with a nice fence around, beautiful fence with flowers. But the fence is my values, the fence is my priorities, the fence is my belief system.
Yeah.
And this allows me to move in and out and understand what's going on inside me and what I'm going to do with this. And sometimes I probably need to expand my fence or rebuild it. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
You have a fence and you have to prune it. If it's a nice fence of flowers, you have to prune it, you know, water it, and so on and so forth, so that it keeps
And over
being
time,
there.
invite people. Some people will come in. Some people will. I mean,
Oh,
sometimes some people.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
some people will just talk over the fence. It's like a neighbor that you
Exactly.
just gentle with and so on.
Exactly.
But this didn't come easy, right? How did that
It's
happen?
not
Because
easy.
I know this was. I mean, back in the day, the generations that you and I belong to, these were taboo things in terms of thinking about yourself and creating a boundary and all that stuff. And I struggled with it, and I'm so sure that you must have also struggled with those things.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Yeah. It was not easy. It's a course constantly evolving for 50 years now that you know, I'm revealing my age. Constantly evolving for 50 years plus.
Okay.
It's not stopping. I keep on fine tuning and honing all these kind of things. It's a dynamic process. It's not a one time process. So I
So
keep on honing my fence. Yeah.
yeah, so the thing is that here's where see the I don't see the challenge in my head. I've somehow resolved it, but I'd like to know your thoughts on this. So here is me, the person, Alex, Adnan, whoever, and these are my boundaries, and this is me as being my best friend. And
Hmm.
here's the world, the field, the environment around me, who I also want to serve, right?
Okay.
And so here is me being taking care of myself as first priority, and here's others who constantly ask for me to give more. So how do you manage these two demands?
Very easy. Let them ask. This is the answer. Just let them ask. Okay, they can, these people are different boxes with different
Yeah,
configuration. Yeah, they're different people. I
yeah.
mean, different boxes with different configuration, right? So they can ask and they can keep on asking as many times as they want. The thing is, do I want to respond to these people?
Yeah.
And up to what degree do I want to respond? That's very important. And that keeps me into my frame. So they have the right to ask. I have the right to respond based on my values, based on my beliefs, and based on what I really want to do. Otherwise,
Is it?
I will press Alexandra too hard, and I don't want that. That's it. I told you, I respect Alexandra a lot.
Yeah. But isn't that, I'm just being the devil's advocate here, isn't that selfish? Isn't that being too um self-centered? Doesn't that create guilt by other people? Did it put you in guilt? You are Alex, you're just only thinking about yourself. You're putting yourself priority. How do you do that? This is not right. what
As I
what
told
happens
you,
there?
it's not, I don't think it's selfish because I'm a very generous person and I give what I have to give. If somebody else asks something that I cannot give,
Yeah.
sorry, I cannot give that. So I feel a very generous person towards other persons. I mean, I have proven it for 30 years working with these people, right? And we mentioned at the beginning this energy that there is a lot of energy because I have things to give to people, right?
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
somebody asks, for example, I'm a psychologist, and if somebody asks me, okay, can I have a tooth extraction? I said no because I'm not a dentist. This is the analogy. I mean, I
Yeah.
cannot do miracles.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can only give within the frame that I can give. So that's not selfish.
Yeah.
That's professionalism. Otherwise, you become master of all trades. How do they
Jack of
say
all
it?
trades. Jack.
Huh?
Jack.
Jack of all
Jack of
trades,
all trades.
master of none.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to be jack of all trades. I don't know anything. I don't know everything. I do not
Yeah.
know everything.
And that's a difficult thing to accept, by the way.
Yeah, I do
I
not
don't
know everything.
know everything.
Yeah. And sometimes people ask me, "Oh, come on, you don't know that?" And I said, "No, I'm sorry, I don't know that. I can find out and let you and guide you, but I don't know that."
Yeah.
So, how can I give a person everything they ask if I don't have it and I don't know it? That's unprofessional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's also against your own personal values. You're being someone who you are not.
I'm not the, and yeah, exactly, Adnan. I am not, I cannot be everything. I am not omnipotent. Only God is that. I'm not that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, but
That's why I love Judith Delosier, because she's a humble authority.
oh, she is. She is.
She
She's
is.
epitome of humble
Yeah.
authority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is a humble authority. I mean,
Yeah.
we need sometimes to say, sorry, I don't know that. I
And she
cannot
says
do
that
that.
all the time. She says that all the time.
If she doesn't know something, she just go about and says that. I mean, why not?
She was in Robbie's master practitioner. She was, she took the last module, and there were a lot of times when, even at Judith's level, she was like, "Oh, that's new. I'll have to think about it. I'm not sure if I understand this or I say this correctly." And you're like, "You the goddess here, come on, right?" And you're the queen here, and yeah, that's really, and I think it takes a lot of while to be yourself, to be authentic, and not to brag to be wise.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Wisdom
And
does not
actually,
come from
that's
bragging.
against my values. That's against my values. I don't want to brag about things that I don't have, I don't know, and I am not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And
So
just
that's why I let people ask whatever they have every right to ask. But I have to give them what I what I know.
and you have every right to refuse as well, because at that point in time, there's a lot of
Absolutely.
ecology, a lot of things. Yeah, it's all right.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it is a you it is a they problem if they don't want to take your refusal. I think people are not very
Exactly.
happy with no's, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And just because we're talking about these things and we're talking about all of this, there must be. I mean, in this entire journey, there are difficult phases where growth isn't really, very, how do I put it? Not very graceful. I mean, sometimes growth comes with a lot of downfall, right? And a lot of
Of
tough times.
course. There's a lot of
Oh,
downtime when you grow up.
yeah. So, yeah, beautifully said. And how did you manage through those difficult phases? Because a lot of people lose hope when there's more downtime actually than uptime in a journey, in a career, in a journey like yours, and in anyone's journey.
Mm.
I don't see a
Yeah.
peak. I see a lot of mini hero journeys.
It's okay to kneel on your knees sometimes. And it's
That's
okay
beautiful.
to have these downtimes. Uh, I usually, Adnan, accept in my life what is coming and just sit and reflect upon it.
Yeah.
That's a very important process for me. That's what I do. That's what I did. I remember when this COVID, the pandemic started, I was feeling numb for just like 10 days
Numb.
because I didn't know what numb. Yes. I mean, as if nothing was working, numb.
Yeah.
And after 10 days, and I said, okay, you feel numb, Alexandra. Um, you don't know what's going on. Okay, shall we shall we work a plan out step by step and see what we have to do here and now, based on the new developments, which was pandemic and getting closed in the house. And and so I first of all accepted this numb feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Acceptance is the key. The first
Yeah.
key.
What's wrong with that? Okay, I feel numb. So what? Something is going on. Yes, things changed in my life all of a sudden. I had to stay home. I didn't know how it was staying home. Never realized. All right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
little by little, I was getting out of it, small step at a time. So I believe that the first thing is to accept whatever is coming. And then sit down and discuss it with yourself. Reflect upon that. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of things that, a lot of ideas that I got during this period. I don't know if I would ever had the chance to think that much and how to make improvements in the way that I work if it wasn't for COVID, for this period,
Yeah.
for this numbness period.
I, as I hear your story, I think more than the numb part, I think it was this the body is this into this silent relief, I
Exactly. Yeah,
I'm just
I
yeah,
prefer this term, silent
yeah,
relief. Yes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's because I mean the kind of life and the kind of work that I see you and a lot of senior trainers do. It's a lot of do, and COVID
Yeah.
comes and says, okay, stop. I'm not, and I'm here, and now it's my wish. Stay here.
Exactly.
And you're like, this is not a life that I ever thought of. How am I going to be here? And so uncertainty and how did that help you with really changing the way you work with live through uncertainty?
Oh, yes, that helped me a lot because that educated me what I'm going to do the next time that I feel the same way. So,
Yeah,
it was because it became what I was doing became conscious. So next time I know what I know the steps, I know what I'm going to do. And it's going to be, believe me, it's going to be faster.
yeah,
It took me
yeah. It
10
is.
days. I'm sure it's going to take me 5 days next time.
Let's hope
Yeah.
for those learnings to come without the COVID or something.
It's not about COVID. I mean, it's about anything that gets you into an uncertain state and in a numb state. And I say, okay, you have to say yes. Okay, I'm in a numb state. Recognize first. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's all
then
right.
work upon that. What do I do? What's next? What do I do?
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
But doesn't that first kick in this inner critic that oh Alex, you weren't ready, this is what is this going on and so on.
Oh, I love my critique. I have, I have trained my critique really well to ask beautiful questions. Because this is, yeah, it's the critique that keeps on. Okay, what are you doing there? Yeah, shame on you. No, 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 no. I trained my critique to ask me smart questions to help me get out of a certain situation.
Yeah, yeah. How did you manage to do that? Because I think a lot of us struggle with the inner critic.
Yeah, it's the inner critique. It's, yeah, yes, it's a pain. Yes, it keeps on asking questions. Yeah, it keeps on asking questions, um, but it doesn't make you think. Just asks questions to make you feel more guilty, to make you feel more insecure, and so on and so forth. And I don't know how I really trained my critique. It's it's a combination of how I was feeling. Okay, does this question help me a lot at all? And I said, no. Okay, what's another question that I should ask myself? My critic should ask myself. This one. Is it, do you feel any better, any, relief? Yes. Okay, we keep this question. And then next question and next question. So it was a combination with, okay, question and how do I feel about that? Something
I'd say
like
it's
that.
like I mean, the way Robert and Andrew, they do it. It's like more like dropping into yourself and really, opening that space to have that conversation with your own self, without
Exactly.
any crap, but really respecting the two parties talking. You know,
Exactly.
I think that's important. Uh, so we're almost. I've taken more time than I committed, though. I always do that.
Ooh, ooh.
Uh, Now where you are, I mean, there's a lot of accomplishment behind you. There's a lot of things, and I just you just told me before this interview that you still went on to do a three week training that I have been thinking to do for a long time, but probably next year. But what really feels alive for you right now, and what do you see that there's more of what you want to be?
Hmm.
What's really alive for you, and then what's more?
First of all, I'm happy with what I am. That's very important. And I'm grateful for what I have achieved so far the
Yeah.
hard way. Okay. Because I
Absolutely.
discovered a lot of things the hard way. It's not an easy way, but I'm happy for that. I cherish Alexandra a lot. And from now on, I want to sustain Alexandra. In other words, to keep her happy. I like traveling a lot. And this is, yeah, I like traveling. And because I have a bucket list of things I want to do and countries I want to visit. I love, I'm a globetrotter. I love it. So I want to keep on doing this because this gives me a knowledge and a lot of information that it's not in the books.
Yeah.
It's in the smell, it's in the taste, it's 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 in the ambience, in the environment. So I want to do that. That's my calling. To keep Alexandra happy.
That's a beautiful way to put it, and I think that's where the radiance comes out and lights up the world. Because
Yeah.
when you have light inside you, that's the only way you can bring the light outside.
Yeah. And the thing
So
is that I feel confident because I have the tools, no matter what happens, because things will happen again in the
yeah,
future. I
yeah,
know how to deal with them. I feel very confident with that.
that's beautiful. So sadly, we have to finish this off. It's
Uh,
been more than an hour,
oh my
and
goodness!
yeah,
And your
and
question, thank you for your questions. I felt they were deep. You made me think about myself.
I'm
Thank you.
happy that you brought yourself the way you are always, and I'm happy that we had a great conversation. It was always, as always, very lovely, and thank you so much for always being here and cheering me on and attending, being here. I'm so just grateful. I have no words. I'll send you a message after this to tell you more. But
Thank you.
it's an honor, and I'll see you soon, inshallah, at one point in time or the other. Bye bye.
We'll figure a way out. We'll
Yeah, yeah,
figure something
please,
out.
please, please, please. Let's do that this year.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah. Great. Thank you.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.